As I sit here thinking about the wisdom I've gained over the years, I'm reminded of something so deeply important. It's a lesson I've had to learn again and again, and it's one I want to share with you today. We live in a world where we are constantly sharing. It's in our nature, isn't it? We share our stories, our dreams, our fears, and yes, sometimes our wounds. But there are certain things, my dear friend, that we must keep close to our hearts. These are things that, if shared with the wrong people or at the wrong time, can hurt us, confuse us, or even pull us off course. I want to talk to you about 5 of these things that we must protect, things that we should never share with anyone. I know what you're thinking, but Louie, isn't sharing how we connect? Isn't it how we heal? And you're right, my dear. Sharing, when done wisely, can absolutely bring healing. It can build connection. But there are also times when we must hold back, because some things are sacred, and others are simply too delicate to share. The first thing I want to talk to you about is your personal pain. I'm not talking about the kind of pain we feel when we stub our toe or when we're frustrated with life's little challenges. I'm talking about the deep, raw, emotional pain, the kind that comes from loss, from betrayal, from heartbreak. You've been there, haven't you? I know I have. There are those moments in life when you feel like you've been shattered into a million pieces, and all you want is for someone to understand. It's natural to want to reach out, to let someone in and say, "This is what I'm going through." But here's the thing, your pain is yours. It's deeply personal. And when you share it with someone who isn't equipped to carry it with you, it can leave you feeling even more exposed and alone. You have to be discerning about where you place your trust. Not everyone can handle the weight of your pain. Not everyone will know what to do with it. There are people who might listen, but instead of offering comfort, they might offer judgment, advice, or worse, indifference. I'm not saying that you should never seek support. Of course you should. But you must share your pain with those who can truly hold space for it. The ones who will sit with you in silence and just be there, without trying to fix or minimize what you're going through. You must be mindful of who you share your vulnerability with, because when you give someone the power to witness your pain, you also give them the power to shape your healing. The second thing I want you to protect is your dreams. I know it might sound strange. Dreams, after all, are just thoughts, visions of what could be, right? But your dreams are so much more than that. They are the essence of your soul. They are the seeds of your future. But too often, we share our dreams with people who can't see them the way we do. We get excited. We tell others, hoping for their support, their encouragement, and sometimes, instead of receiving the love and belief we crave, we get skepticism, criticism, or even doubt. I'm sure you've had that experience. Someone you trusted, someone you cared about, listened to your dreams and responded with, "That's nice, but do you really think you can do that?" Or maybe they said, "You're dreaming too big." That kind of reaction can shatter your confidence faster than you can blink. It can make you second-guess yourself. And before you know it, you've given up on the very thing that had the potential to change your life. That's why it's so important to protect your dreams. You must guard them closely, especially in the early stages when they're still fragile. Share them only with those who will nurture them, who will lift you up and encourage you to take that next step. Protecting your dreams is a way of protecting your soul. Now, the third thing you must never share with anyone is your inner dialogue. I'm talking about the conversations you have with yourself, the ones that run through your mind when you wake up in the morning or when you're lying awake at night. You know what I mean, right? Those thoughts that tell you you're not enough, that you're not doing enough, that you're failing in some way. We all have them. The problem is, when we start to share those negative thoughts with others, we give them life. It's one thing to express your feelings and your frustrations, but when you start giving voice to that inner critic, when you start saying things like, "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never get this right," you start believing it more. And when others hear that self-doubt, it can reinforce it. It's like you're giving permission for others to treat you as though those thoughts are truth. You see, your inner dialogue is a reflection of your current state of mind, not a reflection of who you really are. It's an expression of fear, insecurity, and vulnerability. And when you share that with someone who doesn't understand or isn't equipped to support you, it can make you feel worse. So, my dear friend, I urge you to be mindful of the stories you tell others about yourself. You can talk about challenges, yes. You can share your struggles, but you don't have to share the harsh words you tell yourself. And when you catch yourself thinking those negative things, remember, you have the power to change the conversation. You have the power to speak kindly to yourself, to remind yourself of your strengths, your worth, and your incredible potential. The fourth thing that we often share too freely is our failures. Now, don't get me wrong, failure is a part of life. It's an inevitable part of the journey. We all fall down. We all make mistakes. But there's a difference between acknowledging our failures and dwelling on them in a way that limits our potential. When we share our failures with others, it's easy to slip into the role of the victim. I tried, but it didn't work. I gave it my all, and it still failed. That's the story we tell, and sometimes it can feel good to get that validation from others. But if we're not careful, we begin to identify with our failures. We start to see ourselves as people who are destined to fail. And when we believe that, we stop trying. We stop reaching for something better. Sharing our failures too much can turn them into an identity instead of just an experience. And if we're constantly focusing on what went wrong, we lose sight of what went right, the progress we made, the lessons we learned, the strength we gained. Those things get lost in the narrative of failure. So protect your sense of self by not, whether it's family, friends, or work, and we start saying yes when we really want to say no. But when we don't protect our boundaries, we end up feeling drained, resentful, and overwhelmed. You've probably felt it before, haven't you? That pressure to please, to be everything to everyone, even when it costs you your peace of mind. You must be fiercely protective of your boundaries. Don't share them with people who will cross them without hesitation. Don't feel guilty for saying no when something doesn't align with your needs or values. Your boundaries are a reflection of your self-worth. They are there to keep you healthy, grounded, and at peace. So please, don't share them with people who will not honor them. Instead, surround yourself with those who respect your limits and understand that your no is just as important as your yes. As I close, I want you to remember that sharing is a beautiful thing, but not everything needs to be shared. Some things need to stay close to your heart. Some things need to be protected and nurtured until they're ready to be shared in a safe space. Take care of your pain, your dreams, your inner dialogue, your failures, and your boundaries. They are precious. They are part of who you are, and you are so worthy of that care. So I leave you with this. Protect yourself. Know what you need to keep close, and be discerning about who you share your most sacred parts with. You are enough, just as you are, and you are deserved. You know, as I sit here with you, I can't help but think about how often we forget to protect ourselves. We're so used to giving our time, our energy, our love, that we sometimes forget how important it is to hold things back, especially when it comes to the deeper parts of who we are. I want to go back to one of those points I made earlier about protecting your dreams. It's easy to let other people's opinions shape the way you see yourself and your potential. But here's something I want you to remember. Your dreams are sacred. They come from a place deep within you, from a source that is beyond the noise of the world. They are there for a reason. Every dream is an invitation to become more of who you truly are. When you share your dreams too freely, especially with people who may not understand or support them, it's like giving them a fragile seed and asking someone to water it without considering if they even know how to care for it. Sometimes the best thing you can do for a dream is to let it grow in silence until it's strong enough to withstand the judgment of others. Let me give you an example. Imagine you have a dream of starting a business, or writing a book, or traveling the world. Now, you're excited, you have this vision, and you want to share it with the people closest to you. But not everyone will understand your excitement. Some may even tell you that it's impractical or unrealistic. Some may doubt your abilities. That kind of reaction, even if unintentional, can make you start questioning yourself. It can create doubt where there was once certainty. This is why it's so important to keep your dreams close to your chest, especially when they're still in the early stages. You need time to nurture them, to give them space to grow. You need to protect them from the harsh light of others' judgments until they're strong enough to stand on their own. It's like planting a delicate seed in the soil. If you expose it too soon, it might wither. But if you give it time, if you nourish it with your belief and your commitment, it will eventually sprout and flourish. And while we're on the topic of nurturing and protecting, I want to talk for just a moment about boundaries. Boundaries are an act of love, not just for others, but for yourself. When you create and uphold your boundaries, you're teaching people how to treat you. You're saying, I value myself enough to protect my energy, my time, and my peace. So, remember this. It's not selfish to guard the things that matter most to you. Your heart, your spirit, and your dreams, these are your treasures. Guard them well. Keep them safe until they're ready to shine. And don't feel guilty for doing so. Ving of the love, respect, and care that you so freely give to others. I think about how often we let other people's expectations shape us, how we mold ourselves to fit the roles others want us to play. And in that process, we forget to honor who we really are. We forget to protect the parts of us that are most vulnerable. And one of those parts is the internal dialogue we carry with ourselves. Now, this might seem like a small thing, right? We all have thoughts running through our heads all the time. But what we don't always realize is that those thoughts shape our reality. They affect how we see the world, how we treat ourselves, and ultimately, how we show up in life. The way we talk to ourselves can either build us up or tear us down, sometimes without us even realizing it. I've worked with so many people over the years who have the harshest inner critics. And let me tell you, those voices are not our truth. They are just the stories we've inherited, the judgments we've absorbed over time. When you share your self-doubt with others, when you express your feelings of not being good enough or not doing enough, what you're really doing is giving power to that inner critic. You're allowing it to take control of how others see you too. Here's the thing I've learned. You are not your thoughts. You are not the voice of self-criticism in your head. You are the awareness behind it. You have the ability to separate yourself from those negative thoughts and create new, empowering narratives for yourself. But that's a journey, and it's one that requires compassion, patience, and self-care. When you share your inner struggles with others, especially those self-deprecating thoughts, you give them weight. You give them the space to grow and spread like weeds in your garden. Instead, try sharing with others what you are learning. Talk about your growth, your progress, even when it's small. Share the things that uplift you, the victories you're having, no matter how tiny they might seem. And above all, stop inviting others into the role of judge of your worth. Only you know your value. And believe me, you are worth more than those harsh words you've been carrying around. This brings me to another important point: your failures. Failures are a part of life, my dear. You cannot avoid them. But failure doesn't define you unless you let it. You see, when we share our failures too freely, when we speak of them as if they are the final word on our lives, we make them the focus of our identity. And that is so dangerous. If we constantly remind ourselves and others of our mistakes, our missteps, and the things we wish we could undo, we forget all the things we've overcome. We forget all the lessons we've learned along the way. Your failures are not who you are. They are just events. And events can be changed, reframed, and transformed into stepping stones. It's not about denying the pain or the disappointment that failure can bring, but it's about choosing not to let it control you. It's about choosing not to share your failures in a way that makes them your identity. Instead, look at those moments as opportunities to grow. Share your lessons, your wisdom, your resilience. Those are the stories that truly define who you are. So, when you're tempted to share your failures, ask yourself, what am I hoping to get from this? Are you looking for sympathy or validation? Sometimes we share our failures because we want someone to make us feel better, to tell us that it's okay, that we're not alone. But what if, instead, we shared the strength we gained from those failures? What if we shared the new perspective, the new skills, the new sense of self-worth that came from picking ourselves back up? And finally, let's return to boundaries. Boundaries, my dear, are one of the most loving things you can offer yourself. They're not about shutting people out or being selfish. They're about teaching others how to treat you and showing yourself that you are worthy of respect and care. When we don't protect our boundaries, when we allow others to take more than we can give, we end up feeling depleted, resentful, and overwhelmed. And yet, we often feel guilty for saying no, don't we? We feel like we're being unreasonable, or we fear disappointing others. But here's the truth. Your boundaries are not up for negotiation. You have the right to say no when something doesn't serve you, when something drains you, or when something crosses your limits. You don't need to apologize for needing space. You don't need to explain why you can't give more. You don't need to feel guilty for wanting to protect your time and your energy. You are not responsible for other people's happiness, and you certainly aren't responsible for meeting every expectation that others place on you. In the same breath, I want to say this: be gentle with yourself when you begin to establish these boundaries. It's not easy, especially if you've been a people pleaser in the past, or if you've spent your life trying to make others happy. But boundaries are a form of self-care. They are an acknowledgement of your needs, your desires, and your limitations, and they are sacred. As I reflect on everything we've talked about, I want to emphasize something that's at the heart of it all: self-love. The things we choose to share and the things we choose to protect are deeply connected to how we feel about ourselves, how we see ourselves, how we value ourselves, and how much we're willing to protect our own well-being. In a world where it's so easy to lose sight of who we truly are, where we're constantly bombarded with the expectations and judgments of others, it's incredibly important to stay grounded in our own truth. We are not meant to be mirrors reflecting everyone else's opinions, fears, or desires. We are meant to be the keepers of our own peace, the guardians of our hearts, and the protectors of our dreams. When you choose not to share your pain with just anyone, when you decide to keep your dreams safe from those who might not understand, and when you begin to honor your boundaries with grace, you are making a powerful statement to the universe. You are worthy of care. You see, it's not selfish to protect your inner world. It's an act of love, not just for yourself, but for the people around you too. Because when you honor your own needs, when you respect your own limitations, you show others how they should treat you. You set the standard for how they should show up in your life. And that, my dear, is the ultimate act of self-respect. But beyond the act of protecting yourself, it's also about remembering that your worth is not tied to what you can give, what you've done, or what you've failed at. It's not about your accomplishments or your mistakes. It's about who you are at the core, a beautiful, worthy soul with infinite potential. You deserve to be treated with kindness, and that begins with how you treat yourself. I understand that it's not always easy to honor these boundaries. There will be times when you feel the urge to overshare, to explain yourself, or to justify your decisions to others. You might feel guilty, even selfish, for not opening up or for saying no to something that doesn't align with your heart. But I want to remind you, your peace matters. Sometimes saying no is the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for the people around you. It's not about being unkind. It's about knowing that when you give too much, when you overextend yourself, you leave little room for the things that truly matter. And when you don't make space for your own needs, you become resentful. And that resentment, if left unchecked, will only hurt you and those you love. That's why it's so important to set boundaries, especially with people who might not understand them at first. But here's the beautiful truth. When you start showing up for yourself, when you start speaking your truth, the right people will come into your life. They'll understand, they'll respect you, and they'll honor your limits. The people who can't respect your boundaries, well, they'll fall away. And that's okay too. Because the more you honor yourself, the more you create space for those who truly see you. They'll be the ones who lift you up, not drain you. They'll be the ones who understand that your worth doesn't come from how much you give, but from simply being who you are. As you go through life, I want you to remember that you have the right to protect your energy, You have the right to say no when you need to. You have the right to keep some things close to your heart and share them only when you're ready. Your pain doesn't need to be shared with the wrong people. Your dreams don't need to be given to those who won't nourish them. And your boundaries are not up for negotiation. And above all, remember this: you are worthy of all the love, respect, and peace that you can give yourself. Your journey is sacred. The things you protect, your pain, your dreams, your boundaries, are sacred. They are a part of who you are, and you deserve to care for them with the same tenderness and love that you would offer to anyone else. Be gentle with yourself. Trust that by protecting these parts of you, you're not shutting others out. You're making room for your own growth, your own healing, and your own joy. So, as I leave you with these thoughts today, know this: there is nothing more important than protecting the beautiful essence of who you are. You are enough. You always have been. And no matter where you are in your journey, no matter what challenges you've faced, you have the power to protect and honor your truth. Trust in yourself. You deserve it.